The Minecraft Forever world is a concept that many players strive to achieve, avoiding burnout and the temptations to start fresh with a new world. There are countless videos available on YouTube that offer tips to avoid boredom or methods to keep yourself from losing interest in your world, some of which are my own. While these videos can be very helpful, going over things you can do to avoid boredom, I don't see a lot of videos discussing specific ideas of stuff to do. Usually, these videos are pretty broad, and by specific tips, I'm not referring to things like relocating in your world or collecting rare items, which are both tips from previous videos on my own, but rather specific builds or tasks that are just fun for the player to create and really elicit that creative spark that motivates players to do something. So I want to go over some build ideas that I think will keep most players inspired and builds that I think have potential to become staples in anybody's Forever world. Now, before I get into the builds themselves, I want to clarify that I will be trying to avoid the most basic ideas like just a storage room or a mine, and the ideas that are similar concept to these will have a little bit more involved than just being your average storage room. A lot of the builds I'm going to mention are also going to be quite different from each other, with the goal of promoting different building techniques, building styles, and the use of different color palettes and block sets. Another thing to clarify is I myself haven't gotten around to building all of these ideas yet, but they are things I really want to get around to and am planning on integrating into my own world in the near future. With that out of the way though, let's get into some of the builds you need to make in your Minecraft Forever world. With one of my goals being to promote different methods of building, the first idea is going to take the player underground. Every world requires the player to go mining for resources, and while I did just say I won't be doing basic ideas like a mine, it's true that an entrance to caves are still a staple of every Minecraft world. Now, just because the world needs an entrance to a mine, that doesn't mean it has to come in the form of a mine shaft. Instead of just building your basic mine entrance, why not build an underground village or city, with it being fully lit up to prevent mobs from spawning and containing a multitude of houses and shops with an underground aesthetic using mostly blocks you would find deep underground. You can have a tiny little entrance on the surface that appears like something small, but once you go down, it leads to a much bigger area underneath, providing a big wow factor when you finally reach the bottom. I have one of these in my own world, and I frequently come down here as I just love its overall vibe, and it also serves as a gateway to my mines, whether it's to collect gunpowder or deep slate, or just ores. If you're not into the underground village vibe either, you could also do something like an underground research facility, making a lab studying the various different mystical items that can be found underground, like glowberries and skulk sensors. These labs then can also have an entrance or a way for you to access the caves themselves and go out to collect resources to study. Another quick simple cave entrance idea that, while is basically a mine in a different font, is an archaeology site. It's a bit similar to a mine shaft, but it's open all the way from the depths of the caves to the surface. Everyone needs a mine in their world, and these are some great ways to spice up how you access caves. Now, returning back to the surface, another fun project is to collect all the different plants found within the game and build something to display them. I personally would like to do this through greenhouses, making one large greenhouse split into different sectors based on plant types. So the middle would be large and would contain all of the commonly found overworld plants, and then I would expand outwards, making rooms for showcasing plants found underground, plants from the nether, plants from the end, even though there aren't really that many, and then some unique plants like those found in the Pale Garden. Collecting is something I personally love to do in Minecraft, as it's just a fun way to switch up my gameplay, and it also serves as a way of showing you're an experienced player. So collecting all the different plant life found in the game and putting it into a large conservatory build is something I think would not only be really fun to make, but would also provide a visually very different and pleasing build compared to the rest of your world. Another thing I frequently consider when making builds in my own world is its functionality. While builds don't need a function to justify their creation, I do find it to be more motivating when I know what I'm making can serve a purpose, even if it's a small one. A build that always serves a purpose and provides a lot of unique design options is buildings to store your mounts and your pets. Minecraft has a pretty good amount of new mounts making their way into the game with the Mounts of Mayhem drop, so now is the perfect time to start thinking about some builds for your animals. You can do simple things like a barn or a stable for your horses and camels, and then for all the new undead mounts, you can make things like a twisted version of a barn, making it seem abandoned and haunted, storing your zombie horses, skeleton horses, and camel husks. Another idea, which is something I personally really want to make as well, is a giant glass dome or terrarium holding my happy gas, allowing them to fly around freely until I need them for a project. The introduction of the Nautilus mob also opens up the opportunity for some form of underwater stable. This could be made in many different forms, but some fun ideas I had are making houses out of coral for them to stay in, or sunken pirate ships, or my personal favorite idea being a little version of Bikini Bottom. This doesn't just apply to mounts either, you can also also make builds specifically for the purpose of storing your dogs and cats. The reason I even mention this idea is because it opens up the opportunity to build things other than just realistic basic houses. The build for storing your pets could be a giant dog head statue, or a building with a giant bone on the top of it, or a dog park. Building habitats or places that are on theme for the mounts and mobs staying there provides for something a bit different than your usual build, and also serves a purpose, which may prompt some of you who struggle to just make things to make them. Now guys, taking a quick pause in the video, I want to ask that if you have enjoyed this video whatsoever so far, a like is greatly appreciated and goes a long way towards helping the channel out, as well as subscribing to ensure you never miss out on another video just like this one. It would help me reach my goal of 30,000 subscribers, so thank you. Back to the video. Now, the next idea will not only be an opportunity to get an upgrade of something you likely already have in your world, but a chance at using one of the game's newest additions, the Copper Golem. If you already have an existing Forever world, there's a pretty good chance you already have a storage building. Now, if you're anything like me and wanted to integrate the Copper Golem into these buildings to sort through your stuff, you quickly come to the realization that the building you currently have isn't designed for the Copper Golems to be able to access each chest. So now is the perfect time to build a new storage building built with the intent of being filled with Copper Golems to sort through your items, so it can be designed specifically to where the Copper Golems can access all of your chests. You can still have your old storage building or choose to repurpose it, but with this new one, it can be made to store more items and also gives you the chance to make something with a bit of a different aesthetic. Much like in the promotional material for the Copper Age drop, I kind of like the idea of some form of copper factory to fit the theme of the Copper Golems that are going to be running around. It will also just be a build that is very lively, as you're always going to have a bunch of little helpers running around and doing their own tasks, so it'll feel really alive. I just personally think this idea is really fun, and I absolutely love the Copper Golem mob, so I will be attempting to make something of this sort in my own world very soon. Next up is something that I actually have as an ongoing project in my world right now, and that is a Japanese village. Most players tend to stray towards medieval architecture for their houses, but why not switch it up? Japanese villages are not only a very unique aesthetic, but are also not as complicated to build as you might think. The main complication that I found when building a Japanese village comes through the roofs, but once you get the formula down, this is really a great theme to build in. I currently have all my buildings laid out with one small build in between being a little pond, but I have so many plans for this area. Like, I want to add a Japanese garden, a karate dojo training ground, and either a dragon statue or just a straight up giant dragon flying above the city. If this is something you haven't already attempted in your world, I would highly recommend at the very least trying it out for a few buildings. It's not too difficult to pick up and has a very distinct look from most standard Minecraft builds. Another area I feel most worlds need, at least those that have large bodies of water nearby their base, is an area transitioning from land to oceans. This can come in many forms, but the one I am personally working on right now is a Pirates Bay area with my own custom beach biome and docks that I plan on holding multiple different pirate ships, each with their own unique block set. If you're struggling to think of builds for your world and you have a large body of water nearby, try making some form of boardwalk or dock so your world doesn't just cut off as soon as the ocean starts. It one makes your world feel a little more put together and makes your village feel a little more complete, but it's also just a fairly fun theme to build in. Docks are incredibly straightforward to build, so if you're looking for an easy, smaller task, this works great, and pirate ships, while can be a bit complicated, are really fun to make, and Minecraft has a great set of blocks fitting to work with building pirate ships. I also can't forget to mention this would be a perfect way to utilize the Nautilus upon its full release. The docks and ships also don't have to be pirate themed either. They could be steamboats or even giant yachts, but it's something I feel really helps bring a town together in a world and provides a bit of a different building experience. Calling back to the simplicity of building docks, sometimes you just want to hop on and build a little something without having to think much, and for that, I would highly recommend building large wheat fields to fill gaps between areas in your world. They provide a nice countryside feel, are easy to make, and can be greatly expanded upon when you feel ready to make something a bit more complicated. For example, a windmill. It also opens up a lot of smaller builds for details such as scarecrows, little wagons collecting wheat, etc. There's not too much to say about this one, but if you find yourself wanting to do something but not wanting to commit to a big project, I say make a big wheat field in spaces where there's not quite enough free space for a big project, but it's also not small enough to be left empty. And that brings me to my last build recommendation for your Minecraft Forever world, and that is an amusement park. Now, I will admit I haven't gotten around to making this one yet either, but it is probably the most interesting build to make because of its versatility. It has a very unique aesthetic, involves learning redstone for roller coasters and mini games, and my favorite part is when you don't feel like doing anything in your world but still want to play and hop on, it gives you something to interact with in your world. Amusement parks really have a crazy amount of potential. The only reason I mention it last is because it is by far the most involved to make on this list, but it's something I really want to bring into my own world in the near future and provides you with so much to do. Anyways guys, those are a few builds I would highly recommend giving a shot if you're at a point in your forever world where you just don't know what you want to do. All the ideas I mentioned in this video, while kind of specific, are still just outlines for things you could do. By no means is there a right or wrong way of doing any of them. I just think these are some fun projects to bring some variety and spice back into your world. But what do you think of these ideas? Have you already made some of them in your own world? I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Now, if you did enjoy this video whatsoever, a like would be greatly appreciated and goes a long way towards helping the channel out. And if you really enjoyed the video, subscribe so you never miss out on future videos just like this one. Like I said earlier, it'll also help me reach my goal of 30,000 subscribers, so I would really appreciate it. The Forever World videos seem to be very popular, so I'm curious if you guys want to see more type of content like this or have Forever World topics you would like to see me cover in the future. Any feedback is greatly appreciated and can be left in the comments. But with that, thanks for sticking to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.